but unfortunately, because of my trip to Europe, I had to suspend a lot of my physical learning. It was more of a kind of a jump into trying to speak Italian with natives when I was in school there, and it went pretty well. I learned a lot of things, but never nowhere near having that kind of 15-minute conversation. So I definitely, even though the challenge is ending, I'm definitely going to continue on with that. Um, but I also am starting German in school, so I just started my first German class this last Monday, and I had another class yesterday. So I guess I'll be doing German and Italian, and just to keep up with my routine, I like to just make sure I set up a couple hours a day to specifically learn language, not including like watching TV in that foreign language or reading a book, but actually studying grammar. And I definitely want to get a lot of more comprehension for listening. So that's what I'm doing.
Great. Next.
Nikki, go.
Right. I may have to leave you early because I've been waiting for 48 hours for my language partner to be free at the same time as I am, so that we can get this 90 just a conversation. I'd put it off, but as it's that, I shall do it. I'm finishing AIC 8, doing Command G for the second time, not making nearly as much progress as I'd hoped to. I think my goals were unrealistic. I think I've gone up from A1 to A2, and I can carry on conversations with teachers and some intellectuals, normally people who know English, so they know how difficult it is to speak a foreign language. And also I'm finding that my motivation has rather dropped. I think probably because I had unrealistic goals, which I haven't reached. After the challenge, I'm going to Germany for a month, where I should be able to talk lots of Common G because the people who sell Döner are nearly all Kurds. So I'm going to have a rest until a challenge that starts late in October or later. But I want to get on gently and calmly and gradually adding to my Common G. And it'll be quite a relief not to have all these mini challenges actually getting me off track with normal learning.
Yeah, I agree. I think my motivation was kind of dropping too, not just because of the A1 challenge, but because of the goal. So I'm trying to have a new outlook on it. Like, every single word I learn it should be celebrated. Every phrase I learn or I can hear and understand should be celebrated. I should maybe tone down how serious I take the language learning, and stop trying to make it into so much of a job. And oh, if I don't speak at a B1 level, then it's a failure. But every single word, and studying Greek and Russian or Arabic, then even every letter that you learn should be celebrated. Um, so yeah, I think I agree with you with the motivation, and I think that comes with goals that we just need to all adapt to who we are, how we learn, and where we are in our stages of learning. So I totally agree.
Okay, so Matt or Ellie?
So the topic right now is what we're gonna do after the A1 challenge, right?
Just a general,
Okay.
just general catch up, check in, and then some thoughts.
Okay, so before joining the A1 challenge, I was already studying Mandarin for approximately 1 year. And yeah, my Mandarin was not the best. I was still on a very basic level. And thanks to the A1 challenge, I got a lot of motivation because I had the spreadsheet and I seriously hated like typing in an A into the spreadsheet because that was such a bad feeling for me.
Yeah.
I felt like a very lazy person, and that's why I try to get as much possible, as many yays as possible, and yeah. So my Mandarin skills, they have improved a lot. So besides introducing myself, I can now argue with people.
Good,
So
good.
I can like if I say no, I don't like that, and get over it. I don't like it. I can say things like that. And my future plans, since I've studied a lot of Chinese characters, like I can probably read a couple hundred, and write 50. I thought about taking Japanese in the future at one challenges because Japanese also uses Chinese characters for their script. And yeah, but I don't think about joining the Ad1 Challenge 10 right now because I'm very busy with school since school is going to start soon in Germany. And yeah, but I think about taking probably Ad1 Challenge 12 or 13 if possible.
Yeah, I think Nikki commented about something about like that, something in late October, and I agree with you guys. I think that I obviously don't want to do Ad One Challenge 9 after being defeated so well in Ad One Challenge 8, but I think probably around 11 or 12 for myself. Maybe if I can get a really strong feel in the languages that I want to learn now, maybe I can take on a Mandarin or a Japanese or something with a different alphabet to learn. So just so I can have those celebrations of learning just words individually, because since I, can speak Spanish and French, every word that I learn in Italian is kind of like, oh, of course I should know that. It's easy, and then I don't feel so great about learning, as compared to starting a whole other language with a different alphabet. Then if I give myself enough time to adjust and learn more about language learning, maybe like I said in October, we can start another Ad One challenge sometime later.
So yeah, for me as well, I think I'll take a short break after A1C8. I feel that I also want to focus on other personal projects in my life, just sort of some personal programming, personal coding projects that I have not been able to progress that much because of my language studies. I still want to sort of study daily, but maybe without the pressure of the N1 challenge. So then, yeah, that's one of my many random initiatives that I post. N1 challenge is a completely random name, but the idea is that whoever is inspired from the A1 work on one specific personal project, then join that thing, and then basically I would nick the idea from that one challenge, and we sort of, I don't know, check in, have a kind of a daily yay mini challenge and sort of things. Or maybe the idea is just to even just the publicly announcing our goals to the world is sort of one way to to make us feel more accountable and make us progress on. I don't know, it can be just for a fitness goal, daily running, or programming a little web page or whatever, depending on the individual. So if you feel inspired, do join it. But if you join it, do actually do something about it. Otherwise, we'll just have lots of people in the group, not much activities, which would be a bit bad. But anyway, so that was my little pitch for yeah, I feel that it's good to also work on other projects. Otherwise, we will just be pure language learners.
So
I think that you'll be doing it for people in other challenges.
Well, I think the idea, well, you can join too, but then is the danger of focusing on two things.
You know what I mean, like after.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So my current, I don't. Is it? Can you repeat the questions? Actually, maybe I didn't understand you.
After A1C9 ends, do you think you're going to be doing it again?
Yeah, I think I would do it or either similar, probably late October, early November. I think
Okay.
it's just good to take a break.
I know I want to definitely, if it's getting cold outside here in the United States during the winter time, I definitely want to be able to be cooped up with lots of books and lots of time on my hands. So, maybe the Add One challenge in like in October, November would be perfect for someone like me. And I hear some of you guys because, maybe be stuck inside, take on a language that you really want to, Kumanji for you, Nikki, Mandarin Chinese maybe for
Hungarian
you.
next time for me.
There you go. So something like really, maybe really challenging that we can like shift our priorities and also helps us get back into the mood. I don't know. Who knows?
Okay, so what languages do you plan on learning in future Advent challenges or just in the future?
Who wants to start with that one?
Okay,
uh,
Ellie, you haven't spoken that much, so your turn.
Okay. So after, oh, it's going to be overlapping a bit towards the end of this challenge, but there's going to be at the local public school. I'm going to be taking Chinese classes. I don't know how actively I'm going to be focusing on that, but I'm then signed up for that.
Very cool. Very cool.
Mm.
I always have a battle of wanting to learn every language in the world and then having to.
I know that feel.
Yeah, I think you guys can relate. My friends can't relate. They always think, why can't English just be good enough for you? But yeah, I really want to, but what you have to supplement it with, like for us who are in school, we have school, and like I said, I take German in school now. I just started this semester, so to make sure I get a good grade and learn the language, I need to make sure I'm focusing on German. But as far for me for learning languages, if whoever hasn't seen it yet, I do have a goal to learn 10 languages by the time I'm 25 years old. I'll turn 21 2 weeks from now, so I only have 4 years left. So
You can do it.
so yeah, I'm excited because I'll be taking on after German. I'll probably take on Dutch and Afrikaans, so that will add two quick languages hopefully, along with adding Italian. So hopefully those are three languages. I set the standard to be in a B1 level, so it's not like I can speak fluently in 10 languages. I just want to have conversations in 10 languages. So that B1 level I've already achieved in 4 languages, starting on 5. So I think I can do it. So
Yeah.
I think Afrikaans, Dutch. I would really, really love to learn Russian. Russian would be like that's my top goal. I would love to be able to learn Russian. Um, and then Czech. I would like to learn Czech. And then adding with German, then those are probably the next few languages I want to learn for sure.
If you know one Slav language, the others are easy.
Yes,
Yeah.
I
I've seen
found.
this. I've seen this. I just went to my local bookstore in this city I live in. There's about 500,000 people, and there's only one really good bookstore in it that I get all my language books from. I get everything. He has all these types of languages, all these dialects, and I just picked up a Sorbian dictionary, and
Oh,
and oh my gosh, it's a lot like
wow.
Slovak and Czech, and so I'm excited. So once I dive into those Slavic languages, then hopefully I'll get another role going on with adding languages.
To me,
You're
actually,
so
I just
lucky.
Also, with the Slav languages, you can speak a sort of pan-Slav salad to communicate, which can be useful
Yeah,
till
yeah,
you know it better.
yeah, absolutely. What were you saying, Benson?
Um, I was saying that you're so lucky having a library like that because whenever I go
Oh,
to my library and I ask them, do you have any books on, let's say, Korean? They're gonna be like, oh no, we don't sell books about exotic languages.
oh, oh
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, when I was in Germany for a little bit this summer, the one day I went out to the bookstores, it was Sunday and they were all closed, or Monday, yeah, Sunday or Monday, and they were all closed, and I was so upset.
Yeah,
But
Sunday is like, the day which Germans don't do anything. They are supposed to go to church, but many just stay at home.
That's the same with us sometimes too. So definitely. But yeah, I really think it's important for. I really have a large book collection of languages I'll probably never be able to get to, but just having them makes me happy. And
Yeah.
yeah, and you wonder why I get all these ideas of having to learn all these languages because I have all these books, and my fiance threatens that if I don't read the books, that I have to get rid of them, and so I have to rush through everything. So who else? Who else is gonna learn? Anyone else want to learn Russian, or anyone who know Russian here?
Um, Actually, I wanted to learn Russian. I can read Russian, but like it's very exciting for me to learn how to read a language because that's basically the basics of the language or the foundation of the language, and that's why I think it's very important to learn the script of a language from the very beginning. So before learning like Russian grammar and stuff, I just thought about, yeah, okay, come, let's just learn the Cyrillic alphabet. And one more pro of the Cyrillic alphabet is that I can use it to write secret messages in the
Yeah.
languages I know. So, for example,
That's why I chose to do Greek instead of German at the tender age of 13, which led me on later to doing Russian because it was another alphabet. And then because my Greek was more than I needed for theology, I then jumped at Hebrew as well.
Yeah, and my sister's also a kind of polyglot because she loves to learn languages as well. She's currently studying Arabic, and she plans on taking the A1 challenge as well. She also has tons of books about languages she hasn't even started studying, like Hindi or I think she also has a Hebrew book. And future languages for me are probably Swedish, Persian. I love Persian culture, literature.
I might be
And
doing that next year, at the beginning of next year.
Persian?
Persian.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Persian is beautiful.
My family's from Iran, so.
Oh, that's cool.
There you go. There's a connection right there.
And Korean is like one of the languages I actually study, but I don't really get to like understand the language very easily because Korean has kind of a very weirdly structured grammar. They have grammar patterns which don't really exist in other languages, like verb endings which have a completely different meaning and which don't really have an equivalent in English or any other language. Yeah, and since I've been doing the A1 challenge mainly on Mandarin, I wasn't able to study and to focus on other languages. So I wanted to study Swedish and French simultaneously. I've been learning French for 5 years now, and Swedish is just like one of the languages that I really want to learn because of the country and the culture. And that's one thing that I don't really like about the A1 challenge, that you can only focus on one language, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I've been torn, a lot. I've been reading lately here a lot of articles about learning several languages at one time. Should you or should you just focus on one? I think if you are learning them to use them in a business setting, maybe it is best to learn one at a time. But the whole point, I think, and I hope you guys agree with me, is that the whole point we're learning these languages is because we want to. We don't have to. We like learning languages. We like communicating. We like cultures. And so that's why I think maybe not learning 10 languages at one time because you probably never make a lot of progress, but two, three, four, five, six, I don't know, languages at a time, and those sound good to me. And I think Brian just, wants to make sure that the people who, were uneasy about starting a new language or are unsure if they can speak another language, I think that's what the Ad1 Challenge is for them to get the motivation from people like us to say, you can do it, trust us, we've learned languages, we're here to help. So, you can start several challenges at one time, while doing the Ad1 Challenge. I was also doing this Twitter challenge, and there's this robot that you can tweet to, and it keeps track of how many hours and how many minutes that you spent learning the language, and
Mm-hmm.
on what you've spent learning. Like you can say, I've done 15 minutes in reading, and I'll keep track of that. And at the end of the month, it'll tell you all that, and you can have challenges. And there's like a score sheet, so you can see
It's a Twitter bot, right?
which one.
Is that days before the A1 challenge, there was like on the language learning forums, most people use Twitter bot to do that. Are you talking about the same thing?
Yeah, it's kind of like it's a Twitter bot. It's made by, I have to look on my Twitter feed here.
Most people use it at some stage.
Yeah, it's really cool just because, you know, it's not as social of an interaction as the Add One challenge is because there's not groups and stuff like that. It's you versus everybody. But it is cool, like of a side thing to do. Like if you're doing the Add One challenge and you're in school learning a language and you have this, then you can be learning 2, 3 languages at a time, keeping track of them really well. So, I think I'm with you, Mert. I would rather, learn 2 languages at least at a time. I can't just learn one
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know, I'd get bored or get demotivated, or plus in just the fact that there's too many languages and too many great cultures that you can't learn them all, so you have to hurry up and learn as many as you can. So
I also agree. Actually, I feel that it's also the thing about intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. The thing about the irony about goal setting is that when we actually have a very clear goal, then in a way, we can lose the intrinsic motivation. It's like, I don't know, for some people like playing Angry Birds on the phone, and us, and we like learning languages. It's exactly the same thing. I mean, it's sometimes learning one challenge is learning one language is a bit like having one gamer to just play Angry Birds all the time so that he can get the most points. But that sort of defeats the whole point of game playing in a way. So what I noticed is that sometimes it's a balance between goal setting and just playing and having fun. And sometimes I feel that if I just set too many goals and way too many milestones, then it feels like the fun factor can decrease. And then just a comment about the previous point about the Slavic languages. Yeah, I do feel that sometimes looking at the Slavic languages, they are similar to how close they are to the Romance languages. Sometimes between 2 Slavic languages, they are as close as Spanish and Italian, even closer. So if we do master one, I do feel that we can begin at Polish. But I feel that if I actually get to an intermediate level and say Polish, and I can sort of understand quite a few Slavic languages without too many problems.
very cool.
And
Mm-hmm.
for language, after either Polish or something quite similar, so that anyone will be complementing one West Slavic language. Any other points? Any other?
Just real quickly, I'll be right back. Give me like 2 or 3 minutes. I'll be right back, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm planning to do Hungarian in my next challenge to get it back up to scratch, and then Turkish before I go to Turkey again, and also so that I can understand the news about Kurdistan that appears on Facebook in Turkish. And then I might have another go at Kurmanji because it's slow progress.
So, since we were talking about Slavic languages, is there any specific language which is the most interesting or the most attractive to you?
Well, so far I can. Polish definitely has got some of the. Well, I don't know that much about Old Church Slavonic, but apparently it has kept some features from from older Slavic languages. For example, the nasal sound, the nasal vowel have disappeared in most other Slavic languages, and then apparently some grammar points are fairly similar to older Slavic languages. So maybe from that perspective, it's kept some old features. It's one reason that makes it more interesting, because if it kept a lot of features from Proto-Slavic, then it can sort of lead. It's a easier bridge to other languages. And plus, there are lots of cheap flights to Poland, and you can go to there by car.
But I heard that Polish is very hard. I think the most interesting Slavic language for me is probably, I don't know if you can count it as a language on its own, but I'd say Bosnian is very interesting for me, because like the Bosnian dialect of Yugoslavic or Croatian has a lot of Turkish loanwords. And since I already know Turkish, I can grasp the vocabulary easier.
Mm. I did a couple of years of Russian at school, which enabled me to understand the grammar a bit. I couldn't speak it to save my life, but I found that a very good basis for other Slavic languages. And in fact, when I went to Bulgaria for the first time, I used all the Bulgarian words I knew, which were very limited because I'd only been working at it for 3 weeks. But apart from that, I used Russian. And at the end of 10 days, someone said to me, "How long have you been learning Bulgarian?" So I said, "Oh, 3 weeks." But by dint of Russian, I was able to communicate fairly usefully. But then I think a lot of people in Bulgaria know Russian, and certainly when I was going there, they liked the Russians because it saved them from the Greeks or the Turks or someone.
Yeah, I mean, they even use the Cyrillic alphabet.
Yeah.
All right, what did I miss?
We talked about our favorite Slavic languages.
It's Czech, right? Right? No. I have no opinion on that. They all look cool to me. I'm just my family's Czech. My family owns the Neprostic Museum in the Czech Republic in Prague. So I'm kind of biased on that.
Isn't that your surname?
Yep.
So are you from a famous family that we are supposed to know, that has a page on Wikipedia at least?
You guys can look up. You can look up the Neprostic Museum. I can add it in here. That's my last name.
You know you're famous when you have a Wikipedia page.
Yeah. Here I can. I have it right here.
So has any of you ever thought about studying, let's say, an Aboriginal language, or a language which is not spoken by a lot of people, like Navajo or Ojibwe, Ainu?
I have a book here that I got a few months ago. It's about languages in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe at some point I'll do it.
That's sweet. That's really cool. I know I have thought about it. For school, I'm a linguistics major, obviously. So, one of my independent studies with my professors, we are planning on me studying a Native American language for 1 month, and then for 1 month I will go and live with the Native American tribe, trying to use the language and trying to compare how the language has evolved and how the young use it versus how do the old use it, and stuff like that. So I'm definitely interested in learning a tribal language or an Aboriginal language like that. So I will have to see that will probably be in the spring though. So there'll be some time for me.
So studying linguistics is actually more about the structure of the language, right? Not about um, language research.
Well, linguistics that I study is studying about teaching, methodology, um, and the communicative process in linguistics. It's kind of more of a sociology
Hmm.
than it is methodology or pedagogy. So I do my research on those. One because they're fun. Like right now, my study that I'm doing is I'm grouping up people, 3 or 4 people in every group who don't know American Sign Language or any sign language, and I am making them create their own sign language by completing that task and not being able to talk. And I'm comparing the signs that they make up versus the actual American Sign Language to compare to see how close they are. So I do a lot of fun experiments like that because I'm trying to see how the human brain perceives languages, how do we actually use the language. So it's not so much structure as it is a kind of a sociology kind of study of linguistics. So kind
Hmm.
of sociolinguistics. So my university is small though, so they all think I'm crazy too here at university. So but it's great. It's really fun. A lot of professors are throwing their hands up and saying, I don't know how to help you. We've never studied anything like this. I found one linguistics professor who has taken me on, and he doesn't know much about what I've been researching, but he does know about connections and linguistics in general. So he helps me out a lot on the research side of it too.
Well, that's cool.
Is anyone else in college here?
I still got 3 years to go,
Oh, okay, gotcha.
and I'm basically a high school student, and I will hopefully enter university in 2 or 3 years. Who knows?
Yeah.
What are you going to study? Have you decided?
I actually didn't, but I actually thought about probably doing something business related or neuropsychology, and I'm actually aiming for a very good average. Do you say average in English for like your grades?
Yeah, a good grade point average. Yeah.
Yeah, because I actually want to go to an elite university like Cambridge or something like that. Um, and yeah, I also thought about combining something with um, Chinese or sinology because I like Chinese literature a lot. For example, even just drawing Chinese characters can be very interesting for me and very meaningful. They're just like each character tells its own story, and I find that so interesting that I could write random characters without any specific context, and I would still enjoy it. And
That's really cool.
I catch myself quite often in class just drawing characters.
Mert, to be honest, you did inspire me. I learned a little bit of Mandarin Chinese because I was bored in one of my other classes that wasn't
Hmm.
about languages. So you inspired me. So while we've been talking, I kind of started writing some down just to see what I was remembering.
Yeah,
Uh,
I learned Chinese in school as well. That's basically where I learn all the characters.
so yeah, I totally understand what you mean, Mert. I haven't dived in as much as you have with Chinese or thought a lot about it, but I can see how someone is so connected to the sinology and Chinese in general. Like you said, I mean, there's a story behind every symbol. There's literally I've bought in a book about like it's just 25 symbols and it's about 100 pages long. So they spend about 4 pages per symbol explaining where it came from, why it is like that, and how it is today. And so you're right. I think it's really beautiful language, and I think it's really cool. I think that'd be really cool if you combine, your neuro with sinology or something like that, just to have a fun field.
Yeah, it's quite. It's not
No,
very often found.
Just a few comments on sinology because I'm Chinese. So one, in terms of what to study, just for pure linguistic sake, Middle Chinese is quite cool to study because that is where Japanese and Korean and Vietnamese and other Sino-related languages stem from. And then so that is the sort of the older Chinese, and among the Chinese dialects, Cantonese is closer to Middle Chinese. It has retained a lot of the features from Middle Chinese, and then if you know the pronunciation of a word in Cantonese, it does help you to guess the pronunciation in Japanese, Korean, Vietnamese, and
Yeah,
bits of Thai. So that is one sales page for learning Cantonese and Middle Chinese. And then something which is quite cool is also um, Middle Chinese phonology. Then if you know ancient Chinese phonology, how Chinese phonological changes happen, and that
hmm
you know that they can sort of guess the pronunciation of words in the six languages that I mentioned.
Yeah. It's like I kind of noticed that when I studied Korean because modern Korean doesn't really use Chinese characters, but most of the vocabulary, about 60% of Korean vocabulary is based on Chinese characters. So most of the words, for example, the word for birthday is in Chinese is made out of to give birth and day. And
Mm-hmm.
in Mandarin Chinese, you pronounce it as 生日, and in Korean, it's 生日, but it's basically made of the same character, so you can kind of get the meaning of the word. Although Korean speakers rarely know Chinese characters, they still learn it at school to get the foundation of their native language. And yeah, so if you know Chinese, you can kind of grasp the meaning of Korean words and also Chinese and also Japanese words. And even if you don't know Japanese and you can read a few Chinese characters, you can still get the basic meaning of basic Japanese sentences because they also use Chinese characters in their language.
Yep, I agree.
Really
And
cool.
yeah, just a sort of the languages from that side of the world. I do find Korean much harder than Japanese.
It is. It
In
is.
terms of the I think it is the pronunciation and the grammar. They are
Yeah,
both much harder.
it is
Uh,
because
but
Korean
what I've
letters.
heard from,
Yeah, go on.
uh, yeah, so people say that the more you study Japanese, the harder it becomes because there are some kanjis which has got like 10 variants of pronunciation depending on the context. And
Yeah.
apparently Korean is different. It's got steep learning curve in the beginning, but then it becomes very, very easy towards the end. So Japanese gets easier and easier, and Korean gets harder. The other way. Korean gets easier and easier, Japanese get harder and harder as you progress.
Yeah, but although I must say that Korean has the easiest script to learn. I could teach any of you the Korean script in 30 minutes, I think,
Or less.
because the script is so easy structured and so easily structured, and you can the letters are actually shaped as you pronounce them in your mouth. So, for example, the dental sound looks like your tongue is at your teeth, at the upper part of your teeth. So you can memorize the Korean letters pretty easily.
Cool.
So apparently we've talked about Slavic languages, and then there's languages from sort of the Sinosphere, that's the word, and then Aboriginal languages. Yeah, in terms of Aboriginal languages, I haven't really tried many for now, but maybe when I retire, I will do that.
I got one question about Slavic languages. Like when you study a Slavic language, you often find words which mainly consist of consonants. So how come you pronounce them like without any mistakes?
Well,
You practice. I had to practice for for 2 weeks solid before I could say Szczecin. And that's not really that difficult, as it was for me.
yeah, no, it's just because the Slavic languages, unlike, the romanticized languages and anything else, is every letter has a sound, and you see that no matter what language you learn. Like in German, I learned the alphabet just a couple days ago, and it's A, B, C, and the C you guys got, Germans have that. It's the same in Czech too. It's a C, and so that A at the end of it, bay, say, day, we drop that when we are adding it in like English or German, but in Czech they keep, the letter is how it sounds because it's how it is in the alphabet and how it's
Ah,
used in the
okay.
word. So when you say privni, it's Prvni, but the R doesn't lose its, meaning. The P, P doesn't lose its sound. It's still P. So privni just it stays. So that's why it's weird, especially for anyone who has never studied the Slavic language because of the pronunciation, how you don't need vowels as much. But yeah, it's just because every letter technically has a vowel sound at the end of it, so you don't really need that many vowels to do that. So that's why my last name only has two vowels in it between the P, R, and S. It's because it's Neprostek. So you don't need it as much because it's more, yeah, it's more vocalized, I guess.
Hmm.
And before I
Small
say,
question. How many consonants can we have together? What's the maximum?
I've seen words with four in a row for sure, and there might be five. Um,
How? Can you think of any word that has got five consonants together?
I can't think of any right now. I'm sure we can look them up, but even my example of Privni has four in a row before it has the vowel. So it's I know there's
I
got to
only
be
hear
five.
three.
What is it?
P. The Prithvi.
Privni?
How has
Yeah,
it got four? Hang on, so P R and then V N. But
Privni.
then so yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, so there's four there. So there's
That's
definitely got to
fun.
be
Yeah,
more
that's
than
something
five.
we should anyway. So it's not.
Yeah, I think every language has its own difficulties, like agglutinative,
Agglutination.
Yeah.
agglutinative. I don't know how to pronounce that. Even the word itself is like freaking hard. Agglutinative languages like Turkish, Hungarian, Japanese, Korean, they can have so many long words. Like I just realized that a couple of days ago when Tim Dona, I guess you know him, when he posted a photo about Turkish conjugation, and there was a word which was so long. It has like 30 letters, and
Oh,
and one word in Turkish can be a complete sentence in German.
you're
Well,
telling
in
us, man.
Tagalog, there is a verb form, so with one word, you can say to commit collective suicide. And the comment at the end of that chapter was, by now that's probably just what you're feeling like doing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
and
look, you're
it's the
telling
same in
us.
Finnish.
You're telling us, man. I just learned that 25 is 55 or something like that.
25.
Yeah, that's a
Mm.
lot. That's how many letters? It's four, seven, uh, 13. Was that 13 for just 25? And no hyphen or anything. You guys just add it on to the end or into the top, and there's one big long word. Um, but I think it's cool though. I mean, I think it is, but
27 must be more than 25, more letters than 25.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think so too.
yeah. No, you're right. But yeah, they're
Yeah.
really long, and it's really cool though. I think it's like you said, it's every language got its challenge.
Um, yeah, I recently watched a video from a YouTuber who is a native Finnish speaker, and she taught a little bit of Finnish. And I have never seen a language this difficult in my entire life. They have like, I think Sinkohan. Sinkohan means a grenade launcher, and if you say Sinkohan, Sinkohan, Sinkohan 3 times in a row, it means I finally whipped myself with borrows of silver birch, or something like that. So it's like something completely different. I think I'm gonna put the link of the video into the Ad1 Challenge group. It's so funny, and they also have like this one structure. You have one word, and it has the meaning of a complete sentence. Like York Senteli Sinkohan means I wonder if I should run around aimlessly. And she kind of explains what the small parts of the sentence mean, and then you get more and more confused because the small parts of the sentence have just completely different meanings. Whose dog is this?
I shall.
Andy,
Patrick, good boys.
Must be.
Yeah. Good boys.
Animal land. There are like studies on bees, how bees communicate. I'm not sure about dogs. What can we learn about how dogs communicate? No idea. Besides barking.
Okay, guys, so it's a little bit late for me. I have to say goodbye.
Okay.
So,
Bye.
goodbye, au revoir, guten Abend, iyi geceler,
Gute
再见.
Nacht. Chef
So, bye.
Bye. Yeah, so see you Thursday for the day 90 video.
Right.
So just for completeness, we can sort of stay until 9, or has Anthony say bye bye as well, or you just
Yeah.
left?
So is this the last hangout since your challenge is ending now?
Wow, it's just anyone can organize it. It just seems that I'm the only one who has got random energy with random initiatives. You
Yeah.
can do it too. So yeah, let's have some closing comments because you two have been the frequent participants. Any closing comments for A1C aid and these meetups hangouts? So
I guess thanks for organizing this, I guess.
thanks.
I really like these sessions that we have.
Yes, it feels I do enjoy myself. It's one way to it's one excuse for me not to go to the boring meetup that I tend to go to. Well, not boring, but I find talking about things that I like, obviously, more fun. General conversations, general chit chat. And so, yeah, I do wonder when we will get someone younger than you, Eddie. Please. I do wonder when we will get a preteen joining Ad1 Challenge. It's possible.
Yeah.
Do you have any? What is your language ambition, Ellie? How much do you want to speak? 10, 20, or more, or less?
I have no specific goal that I want to get to, just I guess to keep learning them.
Okay. And then Uniki, do you feel you will just carry on for decades to come?
I want to brush up my East European languages. I get very frustrated being with Poles and not being able either to understand or to speak, whereas 20 years ago I could have. So, like I said, I'm attacking Hungarian first, and then in the pipeline for later, so it'd be Hungarian, Turkish, another go at Komanji, and then Polish, Slovak, maybe Bulgarian. I've been in Albania for 22 years and I've rather sort of lost touch with my friends in Eastern Europe. And I reckon now it might be a good idea to get back in contact.
Hmm. Great.
So that will keep me busy.
So, which one do you find the most difficult? Let's say Hungarian versus Polish. Which one do which one
Hungarian.
did you find Hungarian?
But Hungarian is, for me, has been a lot easier than Albanian and Komanji.
So, which language has been the most difficult for you so far?
Originally Albanian because there were no decent resources and no one to speak it with. Now this year Komanji has been very challenging, but I've now got hold of resources and people to speak it with. Although I wish this guy I'd been waiting 48 hours for would actually get back to me. He's a great guy and he's helped me a lot, but he always bites off more than he can chew. Oh, yes, and in fact the language I've started learning about 5 times and never got far with is Arabic. So I want to have a go at that as well.
Okay, so Arabic plus Hungarian plus other Eastern European languages for decades to come.
Plus Turkish.
Plus brushing up on your Kumanji, etc.
Yes, yeah.
So in your collection of languages, have you tried any Asian languages?
No, unless you count Semitic languages. But actually Asian languages as such, no.
You haven't tried anything east of India, or
no?
Or
I don't know. Where are the Philippines? Are they?
yeah,
They're east of
Yeah,
India.
that counts.
yeah, obviously.
Ah, Tagalog,
Yeah.
which I didn't get far with, but I was on a fairly demanding course, and so I was just sort of learning a few words of Tagalog to be polite. And then I was visiting an Ibaloi village, and I learnt about 2 words of Ibaloi, and they said, "Why are you learning? Why do you know Tagalog and not Ibaloi?" And I said, if I tried to speak Ibaloi in Manila, I wouldn't get very much joy, whereas with Tagalog, I can get by anywhere in the Philippines.
What is where spoken? Where is Illinois spoken?
Ibaloi, by the Ibaloi, the Ibaloi villages I know are in the northern Philippines, quite close to Baguio.
Okay, so you have lived in the Philippines
In
before?
Luzon, I think it is.
Have you lived in the Philippines by any chance?
No, but I've done some courses there.
Oh, you just went there just to try and learn Tagalog and Ivanhoe.
No, I didn't. I went there.
Okay.
I went there to learn about Islam. But as I was in the Philippines, I tried to learn Tagalog, and when I was visiting, spending a few days in Ibaloi villages, I learned 1 or 2, very little, very, very few words of Ibaloi.
Well, I think that will be another story of why, of course, of Islam in Philippines, but a bit off topic.
Well, there's lots of Muslims in the Philippines, for one thing.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was majority Catholic country.
It is. There are still a lot of Muslims in the Philippines.
Okay. So one of the many interesting facts I've learned today So it is coming up to the hour. I feel that 1 hour is sort of a good a good duration of
Get off. Sorry, I was talking to the cat.
Learn to communicate with your cat somehow. I think the key is a is there a book cat's language?
Cats probably understand English and Albanian. Now, dogs only actually understand Albanian. They have a vocabulary, and if you use the wrong word, they won't do it. I tried to teach them some Komanji, but I didn't spend. I wasn't consistent enough about it, so they don't obey commands in Komanji.
Okay, great. So thank you guys. Maybe I'll set up the last one next Thursday if you guys can make it to call it the post 90 days. Most people in the group are doing A1CA, so maybe the 90 91st. English is I've never said 91st in my life. Is it day 90 yeah 91st day? It sounds quite weird.
Yeah.
As the last of the last. So yeah, thank you very much for coming again and being frequent.
Right,
for
thank you, Benson.
So have a great evening, and then see you guys somehow in the next meetup or hell and then in A1CX where X can become a very big number.
Yeah. Right. Good night.
Yes.
Thank